Hi, today I'll be trying to code something like this. So yeah, let's get started and see what happens. So we're going to start with a 2D assembly. This is going to be our wrapper. So assembly 2D. Yeah, if I could type, that would be great. Then we're going to have two halves. And we're just going to copy paste this once more. And this is it for the structure. Let's move on to the CSS. We are going to have an inner radius for the square, so this is going to be something like 8 ems. So this is basically half the edge of the square. Okay, and then we're going to do a few basic things that I do for every pen lately. So on the body and on all div elements, we're going to set display grid, and we're going to make all div elements and all pseudo elements, so that's before and after, occupy the same one cell at the intersection between the first row and first column. So our grids are just going to have one cell, and everything is stacked in that one cell. So grid area, first row, first column. Okay, now having done this, we're going to have on the body, make this full height, so full viewport height. Okay, now let's get rid of that scroll bar, margin 0. Now on the assembly, so we're going to have 2D assembly. We're going to set background black. Okay, we're going to have our half elements. So first off, set place self center. Then we're going to have our pseudo elements. So before and after. Okay, and we're going to have so we're going to set a padding equal to that radius. Okay, now that we've done this, next we are going to have, so I'm not even sure if I needed to set it like that, but we're going to see. Okay, so let's say background, if it's not needed, we'll get rid of that. Okay, so something like that, so we can see stuff. Okay, next up, clip path. So this is going to be polygon, and the first point is going to be in the middle horizontally at the top, vertically, so that's going to be 50% horizontally, 0 vertically, 50. Okay, right, second point is also going to be in the middle horizontally, but it's going to be at the bottom vertically, so it's going to be 100%. And then we're going to have on the right, so that's going to be 100% horizontally, 50% vertically, so in the middle vertically. Okay, but we want that point, that third point, to be on the left edge for the before elements. So to do that, we're going to set I0 here, and then on the after pseudo elements, we are going to change this. So we're going to have after, and we're going to set that I to 1. Okay, now here, this value, we're going to change it, and it's going to be I times 100%. So having done this, this means that for the before elements, that third point is right there. Okay, now we're going to have here also a custom property. So this is going to deal with parity. So we're going to have parity 0 by default, and then we're going to make that. So here we're going to have nth child. So for even ones, we're going to have that parity is set to true or 1, whatever. Okay, so we're going to have the complementary. This one is going to be 1 minus p. So q is going to be 1 minus p. Now here we can do something like transform, rotate, and let's say calc p times 45 degrees. Right? Now that's not really what we want. We're going to want 90, and we're going to make that 45 degrees rotation. We're going to put it somewhere here. So as I said before, so transform, we're going to have a rotate, and here we're going to have p times 45 degrees as mentioned before, but this doesn't make much sense. So let's say we're going to have mixed blend mode, difference, and now it starts to look a bit more interesting. And on top of that, we're also going to want to have a scale, and here again we're going to have a calc. So for the elements where p is 0, so q is 1, we're just going to set scale set to q, and then we're going to have plus p times, and here we're going to need to, so here import compass. If I could type, that would be great. Okay, now that we have that, we can just have here square root of 2. Right, so it's kind of starting to look like something, but let's so keyframes QA, so we're going to have like basically like a quarter animation. So this first one is going to be at 0%. It's going to be that value you see right there, okay, and then 50%, 100%, we're going to have transform. We're not going to have the rotation, we're not going to have the scaling, we're just going to have a translation. So translate, and that's going to be and of course it's just going to depend on p, and let's say we're going to have an x value here, and this one is going to be calc 2 times I minus 1, and this is going to give us some -1 if I is 0 and 1 if I is 1, and we multiply this with 50%. So let's see. Okay, so having done this, let's say we're going to have an animation duration 3 seconds. Now, for now the code is pretty messy. We're going to clean it up a bit later, but for now let's just okay, so then we're going to have animation. We're going to have that first quarter infinite, and actually this animation is not going to apply to all, it's just going to, but yeah, as you can see, it doesn't affect the other one, right? Oh, one thing I don't like is those thin lines during the animation, so let's take care of that. Border radius 50%. Okay, much better. Now we're going to need another such pair, and this one is going to be 0-50%, and this one is just going to be 100%, right? Now this doesn't affect anything, and we don't want any QB, okay? Now this doesn't affect the situation where so this is just going to be for the situation where P is 1. If P is 0, then Q is 1. Okay, so we're going to have something very similar, QB, right? So it's going to be something like that. So here it's not, nothing's going to happen. And 0-50%, just have no, but here we're going to have this. I'm not quite sure what I messed up there. Oh yeah, I didn't interpolate the animation duration. So yeah, so here I can just have like none, you see, and there's nothing that and of course here I can just have these, because if Q is 1, then this is P is going to be 0, okay, and this is going to be scale 1, so nothing. And here again I can have just this. So you can see these two animations are basically the one and the same thing, just reversed, right? So then this means that we can use QA for both. And then we can have animation direction, so parity, reverse. Now if we explicitly set parity, instead of setting P there, right? Okay, so yeah, that's the one thing I was missing, this translation, because I didn't move it here. And of course it doesn't affect the situation. Okay, so now it's going to work. Okay, now this is the animation for the quarters, right? And then we're going to have an animation for the halves. Now the thing is, we can take this from here, right, and just put it here, and we can just get rid of that keyframe, and here again we can have this, and it's going to go or it can start from something like that. Let's collapse the quarters, right? So it can start from something like that, and then here it can go to plus 45 degrees, and scale 1 over square root of 2, and we're going to have an animation that's similar to the one we have right here, except it's going to use the half animation, right? Okay, and let's make this linear. Okay, let's make this ease in, and I guess we can just collapse that part, and this part again, it's something else we can collapse. Here we can also set a filter, blur 1 pixel, because I don't like those lines, those thin lines that show up there. And here we can set another filter, contrast 3, much better. And here we can have another filter. Basically, let's just copy this one, except we're going to have contrast 0.65, sorry, to get that grayish look. Okay, perfect. So yeah, this is pretty much what I wanted to show you for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you like it, if you like the work that I'm putting out for over 9 years now, and you want me to be able to do more in the future, please consider supporting it. You can do so by being a cool cat and becoming a patron on Patreon. The link is going to be in the description. Or you can get me something off my Amazon wishlist. Again, the links are going to be in the description. Or you can at least share this to show the world what can be done in CSS these days, because honestly, I think it's pretty damn cool. In any event, thanks for watching, and until next time, bye!